The U.S.-China trade relationship is a complex tapestry woven over decades, marked by periods of cooperation and competition. After China's entry into the World Trade Organization in 2001, trade between the two nations exploded. China became the workshop of the world, supplying a vast array of goods to American consumers at competitive prices. This fueled economic growth in both countries, but also led to concerns about trade imbalances, intellectual property theft, and the hollowing out of American manufacturing. The U.S. benefited from affordable goods, driving consumer spending and keeping inflation in check. China, in turn, experienced an economic boom, lifting millions out of poverty and becoming a global manufacturing powerhouse. However, the trade relationship also had its downsides. American manufacturers struggled to compete with cheaper Chinese imports, leading to job losses and factory closures. Concerns arose about unfair trade practices, including intellectual property theft and currency manipulation. The U.S. trade deficit with China ballooned, reaching a record $419 billion in 2018. These issues created political tension and set the stage for a trade war under the Trump administration. The seeds of discontent were sown, setting the stage for a trade war that would reshape the global economic landscape. In 2018, President Donald Trump launched a trade war with China, imposing tariffs on hundreds of billions of dollars worth of Chinese goods. Trump's stated aim was to reduce the trade deficit, protect American jobs, and force China to adopt fairer trade practices. The tariffs, ranging from 10% to 25%, covered a wide range of products, from electronics and machinery to clothing and furniture. These tariffs had immediate and far-reaching consequences. American businesses and consumers faced higher costs as importers passed on the tariffs to their customers. China retaliated with its own tariffs on U.S. goods, impacting American farmers and businesses that relied on the Chinese market. The trade war injected uncertainty into the global economy as businesses grappled with disrupted supply chains and shifting trade patterns. Economists and political analysts debated the effectiveness of Trump's tariffs. Some argued that the tariffs forced China to negotiate and address some U.S. concerns, while others maintained that they harmed American businesses and consumers more than they helped. The trade war exposed the deep interdependence of the U.S. and Chinese economies, highlighting the risks of decoupling. The tariffs became a defining feature of Trump's presidency, leaving a lasting impact on U.S.-China relations and the global trade landscape. President Joe Biden inherited a complex trade relationship with China, marked by the lingering effects of Trump's tariffs. Biden has taken a more nuanced approach, emphasizing diplomacy and multilateralism while maintaining pressure on China on key issues. He has maintained many of the tariffs imposed by Trump, but has also sought to engage with China on areas of common interest, such as climate change and global health security. Biden has focused on strengthening alliances with other countries to present a united front against Chinese economic practices deemed unfair. He has also prioritized domestic investments in infrastructure, research and development, and workforce training to enhance American competitiveness. Biden's approach reflects a recognition of the need to balance economic competition with cooperation on global challenges. Some economists argue that Biden's approach offers a more sustainable path forward, emphasizing dialogue and collaboration while addressing legitimate U.S. concerns. Others, however, criticize Biden for not being tough enough on China, arguing that he should maintain maximum pressure to extract concessions. The debate over the best approach to China reflects the deep divisions within the U.S. on how to manage this critical relationship. Biden's balancing act is a work in progress as he seeks to navigate a complex trade landscape and forge a new path in U.S.-China relations. The U.S.-China trade war and the subsequent shifts in policy under the Biden administration have sent ripples throughout the global economy. The tariffs disrupted supply chains, increased costs for businesses, and fueled uncertainty in global markets. Countries around the world have been forced to navigate the fallout, seeking to avoid getting caught in the crossfire between the world's two largest economies. The trade tensions have also accelerated the trend of decoupling, as businesses seek to reduce their reliance on Chinese suppliers and diversify their operations. This has led to a shift in global manufacturing, with some companies relocating production to other countries in Southeast Asia or Latin America. The decoupling trend has both economic and geopolitical implications, as it reshapes global trade patterns and alliances. The US-China trade dispute has also highlighted the importance of multilateral institutions and the need for international cooperation on trade rules. The World Trade Organization, WTO, has faced criticism for its inability to effectively address some of the issues at the heart of the US-China dispute, such as intellectual property theft and state subsidies. The trade war has underscored the need for a more robust global trading system that can manage the complexities of the 21st century economy. The ripples from the US-China trade tensions continue to spread, impacting businesses, governments, and consumers worldwide. The future of global trade hinges on the ability of the US and China to find a path toward greater cooperation and stability in their economic relationship. The future of the US-China trade relationship remains uncertain, with a range of potential outcomes, depending on the policy choices of both countries. Some analysts predict a continued decoupling of the two economies, with businesses seeking to reduce their exposure to the risks of trade tensions. Others envision a more managed trade relationship, with targeted tariffs and negotiations on specific issues. Much will depend on the domestic political climate in both countries. In the US, the Biden administration faces pressure from both sides of the aisle on how to handle China. Some lawmakers advocate for a more confrontational approach, while others prioritize diplomacy and engagement. In China, the government is focused on strengthening its domestic economy and reducing its reliance on foreign markets. Technological competition is another key factor shaping the US-China trade relationship. Both countries are investing heavily in cutting-edge technologies, such as artificial intelligence, 5G, and quantum computing. This competition has fueled concerns about national security and economic dominance, as both countries seek to secure a technological edge. The US-China trade relationship is at a crossroads, with the potential for both cooperation and conflict. The choices made by leaders in both countries will have profound implications for the global economy and the future of international trade. The US-China trade relationship is one of the most consequential bilateral relationships in the world, shaping global economic growth, supply chains, and geopolitical stability. The trade war initiated under the Trump administration and the subsequent shifts under the Biden administration have highlighted the complexities and challenges of managing this critical relationship. The trade tensions have exposed vulnerabilities in the global trading system and underscored the need for a more robust and adaptable framework for managing international commerce. The US and China, as the world's two largest economies, have a responsibility to find ways to cooperate on trade and other global challenges, even as they compete in areas of strategic importance. The future of the US-China trade relationship will be shaped by a complex interplay of economic, political, and technological factors. Finding a path toward a more stable and predictable trade relationship is essential for both countries and for the health of the global economy. This will require a combination of diplomacy, strategic competition, and a willingness to compromise on both sides. The US-China trade relationship is a microcosm of the broader challenges facing the global community in the 21st century. Navigating this complex landscape requires a nuanced understanding of the forces at play, a commitment to open dialogue, and a shared vision for a more prosperous and interconnected world.